All right, we are, oh, it looks like we're streaming on Facebook. All right, we are going to now continue. Thank you for your patience.
I apologize. We were having all sorts of difficulties this morning. I am. Facebook would not let me post to the church page. And I think I've probably been playing this audio from both pages now. I did post it to mine and now I've shared it with the church page. So I'm going to go back and do justice to Julia's hymn and get it started properly. I do apologize. Kurt, can you rescue me here and maybe play the hymn?
Okay, hang on. That's gonna take a minute for me to get PowerPoint back up. Hold on.
I could do the announcement in the meantime if you'd like.
That would be awesome. Thank you, David.
Okay, fabulous. Good morning. I'm David Hirsch, president of the congregation this year. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist congregation. We are a religious community who commit ourselves to diversity. We hope to nourish human differences, those of gender, race, age, ability, sexual orientation, political views, culture, class, and religious belief. Welcome to all who treasure freedom of conscience in the search for truth. We promise to do our best to provide you a spiritual home. We extend a special welcome to our visitors today. We hope you follow our Facebook page. To participate in Zoom and receive announcements about special events and our religious exploration classes, please sign up for our weekly email. There should be a link in the comments section on our Facebook page where you can sign up. We are very glad you joined us today.
Good morning. I am Allison Oliphant. I am your worship associate this morning. Again, we appreciate your patience after even a year of doing this. Technology is always changing and throwing in some curveballs, so thank you. Our special announcement this morning is about summer services. If you're curious what our summer services will look like, the answer is pretty much like they did these last several months. For most of our summer services, we will offer participation in Zoom with UU services streamed live on Facebook. After the services, you can remain in Zoom for coffee and fellowship as we have been doing. This summer, we will hold 3 in-person services at parks. On the day we have in-person services and on other Sundays that we don't have a UUC service online, we will email Zoom links for people to attend other UU congregation services. It is a wonderful way to broaden our UU experiences. We will not be streaming the guest congregation services to our Facebook page. At this time, we don't have a start date for when we will begin offering in-person services from UUC Sanctuary on Sundays. It will take time for the technology committee to install and test out equipment from the sanctuary and to train volunteers to be able to stream our services and continue accessibility. There are opportunities for in-person activities at church and off-site, so please check Facebook and UU Connections each week. We hope you'll join us next Sunday in person at Birch Park Pavilion in Carson Park for the annual plant exchange. Individuals are welcome to bring and or take a plant. Plants can be dropped off from 9 to 10 a.m. Please label all plants, and the exchange will begin at 10 a.m. The Zoom service will be Desperately Seeking Joy from Reverend Sarah Oglesby Dungan with High Street Unitarian Universalists in Macon, Georgia. The link will be sent out in UU Connections. Could now join me in saying the words for lighting our chalice. Whether you are from the South, the East, the North, or the West, whether you were born into this faith, found it, or it found you, whether you feel at home or are still trying to find your place, whether you believe in God, are open to mystery, or still have no idea, whether you are unemployed, underemployed, cobbling things together, overworking, or in school, whether you are holding anxiety, grief, confusion, anger, hope, restlessness, or deep peace, Unitarian Universalism has a place for you. It is right here, and this chalice is lit for you.
Good morning again. If you're joining us on Facebook, you may not have heard the opening words, but again, I'm Sue Beadle-Sisum, and I am going to be saying the story for all ages, telling the story for all ages. A Day at the Lawn by Eric Walker Wilkstrom. Once upon a time, there was a girl named Wendy. She loved grass. What can I say? She loved grass. She loved the feel of it between her toes. She loved the smell of it when it was freshly mown. She loved its bright green color. Wendy loved grass more than just about anything. One day, her family decided to go to the beach. Wendy wasn't too sure about it. "Come on," said her older brother. "We can go swimming." "And we can collect rocks and shells together," said her mom. "And you can bury me in the sand," said her dad. It sounded like fun, so they all piled into the car and off they went. When they got to the beach, it sure looked great, like nothing Wendy had ever seen. But when she first touched the sand, it was way, way, way too hot. "This isn't cool like grass," she said. "I wish this sand was grass," she cried. Now, Wendy had a good luck fairy who followed her around, and he heard her wish and decided to grant it. With a flash, all of the sand turned into grass. Now it was her family's turn to be not too sure. And Wendy, of course, was delighted. I guess I won't get buried today, said Dad. That's okay, said Mom. Let's collect some shells. Everyone went down to where the water lapped the edge of the grass. There were polished rocks and beautiful shells lying all about. They all set to work looking for the shiniest or the biggest or the most colorful. Everyone except Wendy. Ouch, she said. Ouch, each. The rocks and shells hurt her feet. I wish these rocks were soft like grass, she thought to herself. And as soon as she did, her good luck fairy, who could hear her thoughts as well as her words, made it so. The rocks and shells turned to grass too. The family looked at one another. Well, they said, at least they're swimming. Everybody laid their beach towels on the grass and changed into their bathing suits. Last one in is a rotten egg, Wendy's older brother cried, and he ran into the waves, followed closely by Wendy's sister, their delighted squeals trailing behind them. Wendy followed tentatively, but when her toe touched the water, she said, yuck, too wet and cold. This time, she didn't even have to think it. The fairy changed the water into grass without her even having to ask for it. Everyone turned to her and said, Wendy! But what was she to do? But her family was very understanding. They were, after all, Unitarian Universalists. So they decided to try to make the best of it. Let's have lunch, said Mom and Dad. So they got out their picnic basket, found a nice spot on the now wide lawn, spread out the checkered cloth, and they all set to it. Wendy was in heaven. After all, didn't she love grass more than just about anything? But she had to admit, she was beginning to feel a bit bored, and something just didn't feel right. After all, everywhere she looked, there was nothing but grass. And all of the sounds of the beach, the waves, the seagulls, all of it, they'd gone too. Grass was nice, but maybe not so much when that's all there was. Well, said her mom, we went to the beach and we're at a lawn. This isn't the way it's supposed to be. What do you mean? Wendy asked. Her dad said, you made it all the same. The sand, the rocks, the water, each was different. And you made them the same because their differences made you feel uncomfortable. But those differences also made them special and beautiful. And without them, there's a whole lot missing. In fact, everything that makes this place what it is missing. And that means that you are missing out on everything you really came here for. Wendy thought about this for a while. She did want to collect rocks and shells. She'd seen some really beautiful ones. And the water was cold, but her brother and sister looked like they were having a lot of fun too. And the idea of burying her father in sand was too good to pass up. I wish it was all back the way it was, she thought. And the good luck fairy made her wish come true. Wendy and her family had the best time that day. She still loves grass more than just about anything, but she's learned to love other things too. And she's come across some things that she doesn't like much, and that's okay too. But she's never, ever wanted everything to be the same again, because she knows that things are supposed to be different. Each thing as it is, and that exploring new things makes life so much more fun. Like Wendy, I too have an obsession. Mine is with the color orange. Actually, I love all things orange. The color, the scent, the taste, the color combined with other colors, the harvest moon, pretty much all things orange. except chocolate covered oranges. I like my chocolate and my oranges separate. Thank you very much. That I've known for a very long time. It's not hard to accept. That's just part of who I am. I love orange, but there are a myriad of other things that I have found hard to accept in myself and also in others. When my mother was alive, she taught me a prayer written by the American theologian Reinhold Niebuhr. It is commonly quoted as, "God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference." I never got the chance to ask my mom why she shared that prayer with me. I guess she knew I would need it someday. One of the most challenging things in life for me to accept, besides being gay, though this has taken a lot longer than that, has been my mom's death when she was 55. I was 21 and didn't understand why she did not seek medical attention for what we later realized she knew was wrong with her. It took me decades to get through, and I keep coming back to the serenity prayer. I would not say that I have completely accepted everything about my mom's passing, but I have accepted that it was something I could not change, nor was it my fault. Throughout life, I have often felt remorse for things that people either didn't do or did do that were not at all my responsibility. My best guess is that is due to the fact that I have ADD, now called ADHD, inattentive type. Like many of us, I have a few hidden disabilities. Sometimes those hidden disabilities are actually kind of awesome. My ADHD is one that can be awesome sometimes. It's also a daily struggle. For me, it means I get off track easily, I forget conversations, get distracted, have difficulty processing what is being said to me when there are other things going on around me. I lose my place, I need things repeated, I get overly anxious or overwhelmed. I have repetitive thoughts that are not always logical or helpful, and I go down rabbit holes for what could be hours at a time. But I also feel things deeply, understand or empathize with others. I'm creative, can think clearly in an emergency, translate for people whom are challenging to understand, and see things in others that most people don't see. The good things are so much easier to accept than the not so good things. While preparing for my reflection today, I went down a rabbit hole, as I do. I was researching the origin of the serenity prayer. I found out that other folks from various cultures have had the same or similar thoughts in the past. For example, roughly 200 years before Niebuhr wrote what Alcoholics Anonymous later named the Serenity Prayer, Mother Goose wrote a rhyme expressing a similar sentiment. For every ailment under the sun, there is a remedy, or there is none. If there be one, try to find it. If there be none, never mind it. Never mind it. And therein lies the rub for some of us. I don't know if it's the ADHD or a manifestation of my anxiety and depression, but I have never felt comfortable with the concept of never mind it or let it go. I really want to let it go, let it go. It's just not as simple as the song makes it out to be. Not impossible. I do believe at some point in my life, I thought it was an impossibility. But over time, I learned that wasn't true. And I accepted that though not impossible, it just takes me a little bit longer than other people. Oh, self-doubt and self-deprecation likes to creep back in. But I have tools to combat it. And I have friends and family to remind me that I have tools to combat it when I have trouble remembering it myself. And as my wife says, just to remind me, she does a lot of that, which I'm learning to accept, but don't always accept gracefully. There is a level of healing that comes with acceptance, and there is acceptance that only comes when healing occurs. To close, I would like to share a quote by Jeff Brown from his most recent book of well-loved quotes, Articulations on Love, Friendship, and Healing. It's not about letting it go. It's about letting it in. It's about letting it deep. It's about letting it through. It's about being true to your feelings. It's about giving your experiences the attention they deserve. And that may take a moment, or it may take years. The trick is not to shame your need to hold on to what has yet to be resolved. Let it go is the mantra of the self-avoidant, feigning resolution because they lack the courage or the preparedness to face their feelings. Let's not play that game. Let's let things in and through until they are fully and truly ready to shift. Let's let it grow into the transformation at its heart. We write our story by fully living it, not by letting it go before it's time. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, Sue. Now is the time in our service where we share our joys and concerns. You may share your joys and concerns in the chat, and I will share them aloud in the circle of this community of care. We will have a moment of silence as you share your joys and concerns. David shares a joy to be celebrating Tim the younger on his 21st birthday with the whole family today. Gloria says, my heart breaks for all who are impacted by gun violence. I pray for sensible gun regulations. A concern from Marcia, my daughter-in-law's mother is in hospice because she is unable to care for herself and illness. Ashley shares a joy that she's glad to be recovering from strep. Susan shares a joy that she and Jerry spent time at the Necedah Wildlife Refuge with cousins they had not seen in 14 months yesterday. Perfectly simple but deeply moving day. We'll now read the words for closing our joys and concerns. Love is the spirit of this church and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
Kurt, I'm sorry, I need your help again.
My life flows on in endless song, above earth's lamentation. I hear the real, though far off hymn that hails a new creation. Through all the tumult and the strife, I hear the music ringing. It sounds an echo in my soul. How can I keep from singing? What though the tempest round me roars? I know the truth, it liveth. What though the darkness round me close? Songs in the night it giveth. No storm can shake my inmost heart, while to that rock I'm clinging. Since love prevails in heaven and earth, how can I keep from singing? When tyrants tremble as they hear the bells of freedom ringing, when friends rejoice both far and near, how can I keep from singing? To prison cell and dungeon vile, our thoughts to them are winging. When friends by shame are undefiled, how can I keep from singing?
This reading is titled Litany for Becoming. To become is a lifelong process. Nothing is constant, not even the self. We evolve in the midst of narratives meant only for some and ways of being made narrow by fear and power. We must then have the courage to listen to the truth of our own lives, to the wisdom that comes from within, responding without resistance or need to control, but with welcome and curiosity. This is what ensures our becoming is an unfolding of our truest self. This lifelong labor cannot be carried out alone. It requires help from friends and lovers, family, and creaturely companions who bear witness to what makes us come alive and say to us, listen, look, feel, pay attention to that. This is loving and being loved. Telling the stories, sharing in the memories, giving thanks for the relationships, understandings, and experience past that have shaped us to this day. This is loving and being loved. Celebrating new beginnings that excite, holding risks together, leaning into unknowns with the promise of support and companionship. This is loving and being loved. listening to the future calling uniquely to each of us in the midst of all of life's noise, helping one another find our place in the shared labor of collective life, supporting each other in what is the world's ache is asking from us. This is loving and being loved. To say for the first time, this is who I am. This is the truth of my body. This is what I know about myself. This is my name, and this is where my path is leading me. And to have it heard, have it received, have it affirmed, and then to say it again and again as we change and as the world changes, and to have each proclamation greeted with an open-armed embrace. This is loving and being loved. There is no me without you. We shape one another. The sacred that birthed us weaves our lives together so that we can only find ourselves through shared becoming. For my journey in all its winding ways, for yours, for all the saints who labored for what is, all the kin whose lives made ours possible, for all those yet to come, for whom living our truths today will mean breaking possibilities open for them tomorrow. We pause, we give thanks, we acknowledge. This is loving and being loved.
Hello, my name is Lacey, and I'm so happy to be here with you today. I have a question for you. Have you ever felt like you were put on this earth to learn one particular lesson? Like one thing specifically keeps repeating in your life over and over again? Acceptance has been that perpetual lesson in my life. The moment I decide to exercise my will or show the slightest bit of resistance, I am reminded to accept what is coming right at me and bend. Confucius said it best, "The green reed which bends in the wind is stronger than the mighty oak which breaks in a storm." As a young person, these words wouldn't have penetrated my warrior-like belief in the American self-made facade. I believed that no matter what a person's circumstances were in life, you can make yourself independently rise above and accomplish anything. In some part, I exemplified this. At 23 years old, I had won 2 bronze medals in the Paralympics. I got to sing on stage with Patti LaBelle and was the fastest woman alpine sit skier in the world with a World Cup overall championship. I didn't identify with disability. Even though I used a wheelchair every single day of my life, I thought that people's only limitations were their lack of gumption. Right after the 4th of July, ironically, Independence Day, I was rushed to the hospital by my family where I was diagnosed with end-stage renal disease or kidney failure. I was immediately put on dialysis and told I would eventually need a kidney transplant to keep living. For the first time, I felt disabled. For the next 7 years, I put off kidney transplant and went in search of a miracle healing cure. And so started a journey I didn't expect, but desperately needed, the journey of acceptance. I found a healer that became a great friend. And while I sat in her tiny office on a biofeedback machine, calibrating and aligning all the energy centers of my body, I unpacked all the parts of my life that I had been avoiding. The journey of acceptance asks for your curiosity. My healer friend gave me such loving, undivided attention. She wouldn't judge or correct or prod me. I shared as little or as much as I needed or wanted to. And every once in a while, she would ask me these really poignant questions like, how does that story or pain feel in your body? Where is that story or pain in your body? Can you just sit with that for a while without trying to make it go away? These questions sparked a new way of thinking about how I react to life. I started to notice that all my stories and all the feelings I held in my body and being caused great anxiety, stress, and shame. I had no idea how much energy I was using, trying so hard not to feel the stories I had been carrying around with me like a giant backpack. The Buddha said, "It is your resistance to what is that causes your suffering." I was in total suffering because I couldn't accept all the pieces of myself. It was heartbreaking to realize how much self-loathing I felt, how hard I was on myself, and all the choices I had made up to that point to avoid hard feelings like shame, embarrassment, anger, and even more concrete things like poverty, illness, and rejection. The journey to acceptance requires compassion. The way I found to be able to sit with a hard feeling without trying to push it away or beat myself up for even having the thought was to speak kindly to myself. Like a kind, soothing, and gentle mother, I began consoling myself in the third person. I would think things like, it's okay. It's okay to feel that way. It's okay that you're angry. Just be with angry. Or sit with whatever I was feeling at that particular moment. Pretty soon my thoughts started to change to, I'm right here. I got you. It's okay. And when things got really scary or tough or painful, I would even say things out loud to myself. It's okay. I got you. I'm right here. I'm not going anywhere. For the first time, I was listening to what I was saying to myself. I was listening like a good friend to all of my own concerns. When something hurt my feelings, I was right by my own side listening and being present with it. As I showed myself compassion, an unexpected phenomenon occurred. The self-loathing began melting away, and I started feeling love towards myself. My patience for myself began to grow. Rather than pushing myself and rushing around, I gave myself time to feel, to breathe, to do practical things like eat, read, sleep. As I took care of my own needs, even basic things like drinking water, eating, I began to trust myself. The journey of acceptance is love. After years of practicing self-compassion and building trust, another surprising thing began to occur. I began having acceptance for other people. People's pain was no longer trivial or self-imposed, but something that needed attention, that deserved patience and compassion. I believe it was the author, speaker, and professor of special education studies at University of Southern California, Leo Buscaglia, or Dr. Love, as he was most famously known, that said, to love others, you must first love yourself. And I think he had it right on. I wrote a song not too long ago with these words. Bring all your separation and your anxiety. Bring all your independence and all of your needs. Bring all your want for love and all your not enough. Bring all your mistakes and all your heartbreaks. Bring it all. Bring it all. Bring it all to me, baby. Bring it all. Feel it all in the altar of your heart. Showing love and compassion can be challenging at times. My compassion and love has been called into question many times over the last handful of years. Here are a few questions I ask myself when I don't like what I see in the world. Where is this in me? What is that part that I am resisting in myself? What do I need to sit with right now? The journey of acceptance is not a solo adventure. To be self-made is a total illusion. Everything I've accomplished in my life has been with and through the companionship of others. The third principle of the UU is acceptance of one another and encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregations. It has been through the acceptance of each other's spiritual growth that we have evolved thoughts, emotional intelligence, and compassionate communication with one another. And you know what? I did find a miraculous healing eventually, but it wasn't through a cure that would allow me to avoid surgery. Instead, it was the miraculous healing that came through the ability to accept the precious gift of not one, but 2 kidney transplants from 2 sisters. Accepting such a precious gift as a person living in so much pain and self-loathing, I know now wouldn't have been possible. It took all of me, all my love, all my compassion, all my acceptance of myself and others to have the trust, patience, curiosity, and understanding to go through 2 major surgeries. Essentially, I had to accept life, my life, and literally the life of others into the very fabric of my being. Making the journey of acceptance is challenging, but totally worth it. Thank you.
Thank you, Lacey. With gratitude for the abundance in our lives, we give to help people in need and to support the work of this congregation. The 50/50 Share the Plate recipient for May is the Wellness Shack. You can donate online at uueauclair.com or text GIVE to 84321.
To
This is a reading by Rainey Resbecca, The Idiocy of Flight. A well-known poem by Robert Graves speaks of butterflies, their honest idiocy of flight, lurching here and there by guess and God and hope and hopelessness. Any number of quotations sound this way, and so, I think, do we, but privately. Publicly, we speak the civilized language of human beings who have things under control. No idiocy, no lurching. The world sees that we function well and happily. Other people believe it, and even we begin to believe it. Life moves forward as always. Privately, though, we experience long stretches of turbulence and the occasional sudden downdraft. So many in our church feel alone when things go poorly at home, when they feel their age, whatever it is, or when they grieve. So many feel alone in their money worries or career problems. Awful life situations seem to set us apart from one another. Normal lives include these awful parts. They don't always show from the outside. It's hard to believe any other folks at coffee hour are feeling the same kinds of screaming pain or emptiness or entrapment or panic or precariousness or low-grade worry. Lives, even lives well lived, don't stay in place for long. At least that's how it seems from the particular vantage point of the ministry's study. It's a help, I think, to accept the idiocy of flight. The butterfly flight pattern so firmly implanted in the human mind and heart. Let the lurching then be no surprise, and know we're all up there flying every which way together.
Please join me at home with extinguishing your chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Thank you for joining us today for our service, and we hope you'll join us again. Our closing words are from the Reverend Katie Romano Griffin. Spirit of life and love moving in and through all things, remind me to release that which no longer serves me in my relationships, so that I may be present to the joy of them. May it be so. Amen and blessed be. For those of you watching from our Facebook live stream, I'm so glad you've joined us today. If you'd like to get information on how to join services in Zoom, you can fill out the visitor link in the Facebook comments. It might be a little bit different today because of the logistics of the Facebook sharing. We will take a brief moment to show joys and concerns or to share names that you might not have shared during the service, and then we'll move into our breakout rooms. Go in peace, go in love.